100-meter dash. 100-meter dash. We're starting off with the men. Gonna have another video about the women. This was absolutely insane across the board. Kenny Bednarek, 9.79 seconds to get the win. And it wasn't even comfortable. You saw Courtney Lindsay come up for second in 9.82, and then McCallum. Let's be clear. Yes, I'm gonna take all the hits. I'm gonna take whatever, but I don't think anybody predicted Mars for the 100-meter team. But the fact that we saw these three, Kenny B, 9.79 plus 1.8 meters per second. Now he's the next guy to break into that, sub 9.8 second realm. I just did a video, check out the video, about how Kashane Thompson, all these guys are maybe going to start to bring a few more guys into the 9.7 realm. This may be an effect of that. Just saying, who knows? But the fact that Kenny B came out with this win was immaculate. I think for the most part, people had a pretty solid, idea of having Kenny B and Trayvon Bromell on the team. I think more people were kind of like iffy on Trayvon, but Kenny B was probably the most consistent pick across the board. But I think top two, Kenny and Trayvon. But I don't know if anyone had Mars McCallum on their 100-meter team. I know people gonna come at me because I said NCAA athletes, whatever. I don't know if many people had Mars on the 100-meter team, but he showed up, he showed out. But Courtney Lindsay, so let me get to these times. Kenny B, 9.79. Courtney Lindsay, 9.82. Mars McCallum, 9.83. Trayvon Bromell was fourth place, running 9.84 seconds. Like, I'm trying to even think back to when we had some level of, I'm only thinking back to like the Olympic Games in Paris last year, where we saw all the guys go under sub 10 seconds. Christian Coleman ran 9.86, literally his fastest time since the Olympic trials last year. He runs 9.86 and gets fifth place. Maurice Gleaton, the high school kid, equals the high school record of 9.92 seconds. Ronnie Baker runs 9.92. Marcellus Moore, 10.03, and then of course Lawrence Johnson, 10.13. The depth in this 100-meter, I'm doing an initial reaction, so I haven't looked through the history of it, but this is by far one of the deepest 100-meter races in history. We saw, of course, at the Olympic Games last year, this is one of the deepest. I'd probably say top 3, top 5, I'd have to look. Depth, regardless so. Kenny B, I think, asserts himself as a true 100-meter sprinter when talking about his abilities here. He's spoken about how the Diamond Leagues and, various different meets have kind of denied him the opportunity to compete in the 100 meters specifically because he was such a dominant 200-meter runner. But now with him being consistent across the season, running, 9.8s in Grand Slam track, running a windy 9.7, and now coming here running a legal 9.7, I think this solidifies his spot as a true 100-meter runner and his potential to get on the podium at the World Championships later on this year. Now, let's be very clear. I'm not saying 100% Kenny is going to get about, not saying that, but I think you'd be a fool to say that he is not capable of actually getting on that podium. He is out for blood. Kenny is out for blood, and he is working for a podium spot this year in the 100. But right behind him, Courtney Lindsay, his training partner, a guy who many people had said, and I spoke to him afterwards, many people had said, oh, they overlooking him in the 100. Even I was doing that as well, right? I think a lot of people probably had him as a dark horse to make the team. I feel like he was relatively consistent, especially through all the rounds, but he was maybe more of a dark horse. But the fact that he ran 9.82 seconds here, a personal best, this was a masterful performance to come up right behind Kenny B. And I think both of them had excellent execution in terms of all their phases and stuff. I'll circle back, maybe look at all the different races and all that, but this was amazing for both of them. Kenny B, Courtney Lindsay, and then Mars McCallum. Mars McCallum, I just said what's up to, I was just speaking with his coach from Tennessee. He showed up, he was excellent through every round. He won the heats, he won the semis, and now he came to the final and ran 9.83 seconds. I think prior to this weekend, he had run legally sub 10 once on one occasion. I'm not exactly, someone could fact check me, again, doing this off the head, but this was a master class in terms of progression through the rounds. And yes, I will gladly admit that I was wrong in terms of him as an NCAA athlete being able to execute through the rounds, right? I always say that I favor experience because of how athletes like a Courtney, like a Kenny, like a Trayvon, or whoever it may be, are more, just more seasoned when it comes to competing against the best athletes in the world. But this was a masterful, hey, what's up?
I enjoy you, man.
I appreciate you.
I enjoy you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Keep me in tune.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, this is This was really good because I always favor some experience, but I do like what T-Mars McCallum was able to do here in terms of his progression through every single round. So shout out to T-Mars McCallum. This is going to be big for him going into the 200. Actually, for all three, before I even get to the rest of the field, this is going to be big for all three of these guys going into the 200 meters. Kenny B running 9.79, knowing he's already, a 19.5 runner when talking about the 200. This is going to be big. Courtney Lindsay, he's already a 19.7 runner when talking about the 200. That's going to be big. And then T-Mars McCallum, he's already a 19.7 runner. Now, I don't know. Let me slow down before I get too much. We're going to see what happens in the 200. The rest of the field now. Trayvon Bromell, 9.84 seconds. He just equaled his season's best. Of course, he's run 9.76, in terms of his personal best, but this is a tough pill to swallow for someone who's been having a very consistent 2025 season. And I know people say, oh, he ran that 9.84 and then he dropped back to 9.9. Like, I think this essentially proves that he is healthy, he is consistent, and he is able to compete with the best. But like, he runs 9.84 and it's like, he gets fourth place. And then Christian Coleman, and shout out to Trayvon, he kind of walked through the mix zone. He was like really disappointed, and you can tell it's like, it's almost going back to the Olympic Games last year where Akani Simbine runs 9.82, gets fourth place. It's like, what are you supposed to do, right? Christian Coleman, shout out to Christian Coleman for coming here, running 9.86, getting fifth place. He was devastated, absolutely devastated. He kind of like sat on the track similar to what he did last year after the Olympic trials when he got fourth place. And I think it's really tough because Christian Coleman's in an interesting place where 2017, he got the silver at the World Champs. 2019, he got the gold medal. And then, of course, he had his ban and he returned. But since then, outdoors, he's been unable to actually win a medal of any color in the 100 meters. He's always been in the conversation with some of the top guys, whether it's a Noah Lyles, a Fred Curley, et cetera, when talking about the 100, but he's never gotten a medal. Now, him unfortunately not making another team for 2 years in a row, and it's not like he finished fourth like last year. He's down in fifth place. So, sure, he's on the relay squad, and he's obviously one of the best starters in the world, but I think it's it'll be an interesting conversation looking forward on like, okay, how is Christian Coleman going to be able to stack up against some of the other top guys in the world? Because look at everyone ahead of him. T-Mars McCallum, he's still in college, young. Courtney Lindsay, he just came out of college in 2023. He's young. Kenny B, he's younger. He's been a pro, but remember, he went pro in 2019 when he was a freshman from junior college. So all these guys are younger. Trayvon is, of course, the only one who's a little bit older, but it's just the idea that Christian Coleman may be taking a step back from that kind of upper echelon of, not to say he's not elite, but like, again, just the top guys. So really tough. Shout out to Maurice Gleaton Jr. Maurice Gleaton Jr., 9.92 seconds, equals the high school record and gets himself, I guess he's in the relay pool. I don't know how these things work, but I spoke about how he was a little starstruck after the heats of the 100 meters, right? He was speaking about how he kind of like saw the other top guys, and he was a little bit, nervous because he's getting to compete with some of his, his favorites. But for him to come and show up in the final, more people were looking at Tate Taylor than Maurice Gleaton Jr. Shout out to Maurice Gleaton Jr. Ronnie Baker, 9.92. He got injured early in the season during indoor season. He literally said, huh? Listen, I gotta get it where I gotta get it. What you call it? You had him. He got injured early in the season, but he unfortunately wasn't able to get as many races as he was able to, or as he would have liked, because he dealt with the injury, because he had those setbacks. So it was a little tough for him to, get back into that full fitness. But this proves that he was like right there. But even think about it. I was speaking to him on the side afterwards. He was saying that he would have had to PB to not even get on the podium, right? His personal best is 9.83 seconds, if I'm correct, or 9.84 from the Olympics in 2021 in Tokyo. So he would have had to run a PB to get on that team. And man, that was crazy. So shout out to Ronnie Baker, but I'm excited. Kenny B, Courtney Lindsay, T-Mars McCallum. I'm looking forward to Worlds again. We're going to do a whole kind of like more in-depth breakdown and stuff like that, but looking forward to the World Championships. Kenny B and Courtney Lindsay are the guys I feel most confident about. T-Mars McCallum, He showed that he is able to go through 3 rounds and compete with some of the best guys in the world. So listen, he beat out Trayvon Bromell and Christian Coleman, guys who have beat out other top guys. So I can't put anything past him. But we're going to see. All these guys are going to the 200 later on, you know, starting on Sunday. So we're going to see how they actually do pan out. But men's 100. This is initial reaction. Let me know what you think. Always appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.